So hi my beautiful people, how are we all doing? Today we are going to be cutting this tutorial. Okay, but this particular tutorial, don't bother to cut it on pattern. Why is because it's going to be very spacious, as in it's going to be wide, so it's going to consume a lot of pattern paper. But I'm going to be cutting it on pattern paper here, okay, so that you can see clearly. Now, if after cutting here and you still do not understand, then we will now go over to the fabric. Please, why if I spread fabric and start cutting, you might not see because it will be taking a lot of space. You might not see it clearly. But now that I'm doing on black and white, just watch the video 2 or 3 times. You will definitely understand. Now, do not cut this on pattern, but I'm going to be using pattern here so that you will understand. Now, we are going to be working on this. Is actually a simple gown, but people say I should stop using simple, that sometimes the tutorials are not simple. But I'm saying simple because if I'm the one doing it, do you understand? This particular gown won't take me up to 3 hours. I have done everything and the customer is ready to take it away. Okay, so you too, you can just keep practicing. Don't get tired of practicing. You will get there. It's just little by little. So this is my gown tutorial. This is my gown pattern, my normal basic bodies. This is my neckline of 3 inches by 3 inches. I slanted out my shoulder. This is my armhole depth, which I have curved very well. Okay, so this is my bust line, this is my waistline, and this is my hip line, right? This is my hip line, this is my waistline, and this is my bust line. Okay, so this is my neckline. You have to plot all this because it will help you to mark out on your fabric. Now this is my pattern, but there's something about this particular one. It's not going to be on fold. So I did the complete basic bodies. Do you understand? So it's going to help us out. Now in this tutorial, that gown you are seeing, that gown you're seeing started from somewhere around the armhole. Okay, started from somewhere around the armhole to anywhere you choose. Do you understand? Now there are 2 ways to this neckline. This is the neckline this gown is going to carry, right? There are 2 ways to this neckline. It's either you put, some people will tell you that they will put elastic all around. I will not advise you to do that. Any cloth that you make like this, because somebody told me it's just to make what is it called, flay, as in gather flay and then you put elastic. No, that's not it. If you do that, if the person is moving around, dancing, doing one thing or the other, this elastic will be pulling up to the neckline. The person will be very uncomfortable. So I will advise that you leave the neckline to lay the way it is. Whether you are gathering it, whether you are not gathering it, leave it to lay the way it is. But then on the back pattern, because the back pattern is still going to look exactly like the front, there's no difference. On the back pattern, maybe between here and here, create a casing and add elastic. So that elastic will gather it by force and make it to lap. But leave the front side, leave the back to run the way it is. If you are gathering, let the gathering just be there. Do not put elastic. This very one you are seeing, there's no elastic. They just gathered it. Now, this your gown can be in 2 forms. It can be in 1 layer. But this particular tutorial that was requested for is double layer. That is 2-tier, double layer now. Do you understand? If it is double layer, it has made itself very easy. Making this very easy in the sense that when you cut your fabric, you know that here is the neckline, all right? Don't do anything to it. It's the second layer that was cut exactly like this. It's the second layer that was cut exactly like this that will be used to turn this neckline. So you will hide it. Now, this style comes in a way that your bra strap is not supposed to show here. So some come with an inner tube. So if you are going to be cutting breast tube to hang inside, and that your breast tube is going to have a buckle at the back. So it is not that breast tube you cut you will use to turn this one. That is if yours is going to have a breast tube. But if the person said no, I don't want breast tube, that means the person knows how to control her bra not to show. You are going to remove one hand and join the bra strap here to hide your bra strap for this side. If the person knows to do how to do all that, so just use the second layer to turn this one. But if you are not going to be doing layers, that is just only one, then leave it open the way it is and look for something to use and bend it. Okay, either you cut a facing to use and bend it whatsoever. Now if you look at the gown very well, the down is the hemline started from somewhere around the hip. This is the hip. If you observe, this person's hip is open. Okay, so you start around the hip and you just be creative in your cutting. Okay, you be creative in your cutting. You know that this is mini measurement, right? This is mini measurement, so that's why it's short this way, but yours is going to come down. So you will cut from this side to your hemline. The way I cut this my pattern, the length is short. I cut for a short, you see, I cut for a short gown. So you see that this particular gown, the one side is very long. That means it was cut on a long gown pattern. So you are going to curve out this place straight into this place, and that is all. So we are going to be cutting out. So this is our gown. Now we are not yet done. This is my fabric now. Okay, this is my fabric. Now I'm telling you that in placing this pattern, you don't place it this way to cut. Our gown is open. We are cutting the whole front like this, and whatever you are cutting on the front, you will also cut for the back. It does not have a difference. This gown does not have zip. Now let's go ahead to cut. Now you only give room on the shoulder part for the neckline. Now I want, this is my shoulder length, right? This is my shoulder length. Now I want mine to have the length of my sleeve, and the length of my sleeve is 21. Even though the sleeve ended around the elbow, which is 10 inches around here. That's where the sleeve opening started from. Do you understand? So we are going to be cutting out all this one. So this is my gown length, right? And I will rule that my line like so and connect this one like so. Remember what I said. Remember that what I marked here is the elbow side where the sleeve opening started. Now I will go now this way, and I will go now this way. If you want, still follow this curved bodice part. If you want, ignore it. It's the same thing. Now I'm not saying that the quantity of fabric you are going to use is measure from here to this place. Calculate here to here. That is the length of the fabric you are using. Okay, now of course you are going to use the whole length of the fabric that the fabric came with. If it came by 60, that's what we are using, because this hemline got to the down and was even dragging the ground. But this pattern I use now is for if you don't want this to be gathered. If you want it plain, like this picture you are seeing like this, you don't want it to be gathered. Now if you want it to be gathered, watch what you will do. So we are going to be cutting out this particular one. This is now our pattern for this particular style, because we don't want to gather this neckline. Now I'm going to be cutting this pattern and use it for our tutorial. Okay, but the same thing you do here is what you are going to do for the one that is gathered. So let me go and cut the pattern for the one that is gathered so that you see. And I'm using this part of my pattern that is gathered. we are going to slit this my pattern. And for the one that is gathered, if you are a beginner, if I'm the one making it, I know what to do. But if you are a beginner, I will suggest that you use pattern. Join pattern paper. If you don't have the one that is wide enough to accommodate human size, join pattern together to do this thing I'm doing. Reason being that this gown is, I don't know how it will be if you just rule and cut it anyhow, but me, I prefer to do the right thing. So this is my fabric right here. And I will slit using, I'm going to achieve that gathered one using slash and spread. Because this is the only way I will explain it for you to understand. Okay, so I start from here. I'm going to be spacing it out 4 inches for this one. Okay, I start here. Make sure you number your pattern. Can you what I did just now? So I'm going to connect the whole line. Even if it's not in line, don't worry. Okay, now I will still do the same thing I did for the other one. This is my 8 inches shoulder, and I want my length to be my sleeve length, which is 21. This is my hemline. Okay, so I have something like this. Anyhow you want it. Now I'm going to be marking my hips line, and I'm going to be slimming it out anyhow I want into the hemline. Do you understand? We are done with this particular one. Now let me turn it to this side again. There's something I need to show you. I always used to tell you, no matter what you do, slant your shoulder. So I will still be slanting out this shoulder by 2 inches. Okay, I'll still be slanting it out by 2 inches. Okay, so this is my pattern for this particular style, and I will cut. So like I said, I'm cutting both the front and the back together. Do you understand? I'm cutting both the front and the back together. So it's the same thing. I will now join all this place together. I will join all this place together. I will join from this neckline to that elbow point and just allow this one to drop anyhow. Okay, and that is all about the style. Now using this one, I will cut out. This is for my shoulder slanting. Now I'm going to be cutting 2 of this for both front and both back because this one is layered. Now I'm going to use my gathering stitch to gather all here like so. I will gather the whole of this place. Can you see? I will gather the whole of this place to go into this measurement, to be exactly this measurement. This one not gathered. This one is going to be gathered, and this is the actual length. So I'm going to be gathering all this one to make this, and I'm gathering in 2. And then you treat the neckline the way I explained to you to treat the neckline. Then you join this place up until the elbow, and you allow the remaining places to fall. That is what will form the flare, and that is all about your style. Now for the back, for this one, for the back, you are going to gather this place, leave it the way it is. but this one you did not gather, you are leaving it the way it is. On the back pattern of this one, which is exactly something like this, you are not gathering the line, but you are going to mark 4 inches or 5 at the back this way. Mark 4 inches or 5 inches around this area like so. You know you are going to be turning this place with a facing, so you will make a casing with that facing. Make a casing for elastic and apply elastic here. This elastic you have applied to the back will help gather the back and make the armpit not to be showing your bust or your breast. The same thing goes for this one. This is the front pattern and we did not put elastic, but we are going to gather it. The back pattern is still going to look like this. Join the back and the front together. On the back pattern, mark like 10 inches because here it was 5 inch. Mark like 10 inch so that when you gather, it will gather well. So mark like 10 inch as casing for elastic. It will help to gather your bust area so your bust will not be showing. Remember, if you are going to be applying tube inside this, is more beautiful. Okay, if you don't know how to make the tube, I will let you know how to make the tube if you just tell me to make it. Okay, so on this one, let me cut it on fabric so that you see how it will look like. So I'm just going to use these pieces. So remember that while cutting, I said you can choose to leave this place open. You can choose to cover this place or just make it straight. It doesn't really matter. On a fan. Okay, so this is the neckline to around the under the armhole. This is going to be your shoulder, and somewhere around here is where the sleeve opening will start. All these ones are going to drop under your arm like so. All these ones. Remember, this is the one we did not gather. So for the one we gathered, this is where we are going to make 2 of it and use 1 to turn 1. On that line where you joined the 2 layers, right? That is where you attach your gather stitch and you pull. Okay, you pull it. When you pull it, you make it to gather back into the normal shape it was supposed to be, and that is basically all for your this gown. Now if you finish making your own fabric and it's not looking this way, there's a problem. So remember, I told you you are not going to put on fold, you are going to mark your fabric facing up. So you can as well just be creative with this hemline. Anyhow you want your own to look like, that is for you. Okay, remember, this person wearing this thing, almost the hip area was showing, but all this place gathered and fell. That's just basically it. Turn on the people keep requesting for video I know I have uploaded. Turn on your notification button so that anytime that I upload any video, you'll be the first to see it. Thank you guys for watching. See you in my next video.